Man, before I even get started, let me just ask you, like, why are you not subscribed to this channel? Because what we talk about on this channel when it comes to real estate, like, I feel like I'm one of the only people who actually sells real estate that's actually giving you real estate information. See, these other YouTubers, they don't sell real estate. All they do is just cover news and try to scare you. And they're not even giving you tips on what you need to do. If you're watching videos about real estate, chances are either you own a home or don't own a home and you're trying to figure out what to do. You can read news articles on your own. And of course, it's helpful to have somebody go through them and give you numbers and data. But if you're just like the average person, you're trying to make sense of it all and figure out exactly what you should do when it comes to buying or selling real estate. And that's what this channel is about. We're going to cover the news, the topics, give you all the great hot takes. But at the end of the day, my goal is to help you understand what you should be doing or what you could be doing when it comes to your next real estate sale or real estate purchase. And that's why I'm about to give you my #1 tip. If you are buying in the real estate market right now, this crazy real estate market, this low inventory, this high interest rate real estate market, I'm literally about to give you my #1 tip that I actually use with buyers right now when we're making offers to purchase their next home. Now, this tip I'm going to give you today is going to save you thousands of dollars. I know everybody is complaining. Well, not everybody. Some of y'all just got it like that. But for those of you who don't, you're looking at these purchase prices and you're trying to figure out, like, how can I save thousands of dollars? This tip is going to guarantee, or at least give you the best shot at saving thousands, 10, 20, 30, maybe even $50,000 when you're purchasing your next home. But seriously, this tip is going to guarantee that you get the best price when you're making an offer on the home, not some random price, not some price that you pulled off on Zillow, and gosh, not some price that your buyer's agent just wants you to pay without giving you the data to back it up. And of course, real estate is all about the smoke and the mirrors. So using this tip is going to make sure that the seller of the home is not playing games with you and yanking you by the chain and like, hey, this is what you should pay for this house. Or also the listing agent, because oftentimes it may not be the seller, it may be the listing agent that's yanking around your buyer's agent, and it's going to end up costing you more money. This is a tip that you can take to your buyer's agent nationwide or probably even worldwide that you can use when you're making an offer to purchase your home. And it is the #1 thing that I'm doing right now with my clients. So like I said before, make sure you like this video. Make sure that we bless the algorithm. Listen, we need to get this information out to more average Americans, or even if you're not average, if you're above average or below average, like, this is the type of information that you need to know when you're making a purchase, because at the end of the day, like, everybody's money doesn't stretch as far as it used to. And I'm here to try to save you some money. And even if you use this tip against me, like, I won't even be mad. Game, respect, game, real, recognize real. So be sure to like, share, subscribe this video. And of course, you only have a couple of weeks left to get my stock course at $99. I promise you, I'm going to raise the price. I'm going to raise the price. I don't even care if anybody buys it or not, because I know that the information contained in there is very, very valuable. In fact, almost a year ago to this day, the S&P 500 dropped all the way down $350. Well, I guess we're talking about SPY in this example, but it dropped all the way below 360, 350s range, right? And now look at it, a couple of weeks ago, it went all the way up to 450, which is like a 30% gain, but you didn't know anything about it. You obviously probably didn't catch any of the trades, and you probably were one of those people who, like, the market's going down, and you lost all your money when it went back up. So if you don't want to have that happen, make sure, grab the course right now while it's still $99. Link is in the description. Now, I know you're probably thinking like, hey, Mark, I'm one of those people, man, I make good money every single year, and I got the nice house, and I drive a nice car. But a lot of you out there, even though you're making good money, you are rich and broke at the same time. I know it sounds preposterous, but listen, this is going to describe some of you all, and I can't believe that you all find yourself in this situation. I guess it's a matter of keeping up with the Joneses, and keeping with the Joneses is going to make sure that you are going to stay broke for a very long time, or at least for the near future. So here we go. We got an article from Yahoo Finance. You're the richest broke guy I've talked to in a while. Dave Ramsey caller asked if he should sell his home to pay off an $800,000 in debt. Here's why the host say he should sacrifice instead. Gosh, I mean, how do you even sleep if you have $800,000 in debt? I mean, that would just drive me crazy. I try to keep my debt as low as possible. I'm transparent. Literally, the only debt that I have is like, I think I owe like $1,800 on a car loan, and then I have my student loans, which is a whole nother topic, but it's nowhere near as much as they owe. Trust me. So during the call, Adam, who's the caller, gave a brief overview of his household's financial situation. Despite having a home with about $400,000 in equity, Adam said his family was roughly $800,000 in debt, a staggering figure. Even if interest-free and paid off at $4,000 a month would take them close to 17 years to erase. That's crazy. So how did they get to 800,000? Here's how they got there. They have $150,000 in 2 car loans. Listen, before I even jump back into the article, I want to let you know it is totally fine to drive a cash car. Like my daily driver now is a cash car. I literally drive my wife's car from college, and you can call it what you want, but I'm telling you, that '05 Altima, I call it Mouse Cat. It gets like 30 miles per gallon. The insurance on it is only like $27 a month, and I don't care what you think about when I pull up because I'm saving money for myself, for my family's future by not having $150,000 in car loans, because whatever their car payment is, I want no parts of it. I don't care if their car has touchscreen, parks itself, it does whatever. At the end of the day, I'm cool riding around the Mouse Cat because I'm stacking up my bank account, not somebody else's. Back to the article. They have $280,000 in student loan debt and a $385,000 mortgage balance. I'm going to say like the mortgage balance, although it does count as debt, it got a lot of equity and sounds like a really nice home. So they could just sell their house and that will go away. So really, it's not really $800,000 in debt. It is, but it isn't. I mean, not in my opinion. On top of their debt situation, they only had $10,000 in savings at the time of the call. I look at my bank account sometimes and I'm like, yo, I need more money. Like, we got to save more. But Jasmine, which is my wife, if you're watching, like, okay, at least we're doing better than them. Considering their lifestyle and their regular loan payments, that sum is hardly likely to carry them through the recommended 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. So I'm not going to continue through the article. I'm pretty sure that you get the point. You got to protect yourself from being in a situation like that, because if they lose a job, all of that's going to be gone. They're going to lose those 2 cars. They're going to have to sell the home, and they probably won't be able to buy another one or whatever. So first things first, like, make sure that you're actually protecting yourself financially. Do not fall into the trap that everybody's trying to tell you to go buy a house at these super high prices that you can't afford. If you can afford it, go for it. But also cars. Oh my God, these days, just build you a car. That's how I look at it. I mean, if you're a car person, I mean, why do you need $100,000 Hellcat when you can put a quarter of that and have you a nice old school with a Hellcat engine in it? I don't know, just my preference. But that just points to the smoke in the mirrors, the hamster on the hamster wheel, or the stick and carrot that's going on in today's society, where they always want you to be chasing something, and what you're chasing does not do anything for you. And if that's not enough proof of the smoke and mirrors that's going on in today's society, remember how they always keep telling you that inventory is low? Well. Would you be surprised that there are millions of homes that are sitting vacant right now that are kind of sandbagging the inventory numbers? Here it is right here in an article from Vice. Millions of homes still being kept vacant as housing costs surge, report finds. The nation's 50 largest metros have millions of homes that aren't being used, while there are under 500,000 unhoused individuals in the entire country. I'm not sure if it's 500,000. It feels like it's more. It feels like there's 500,000 unhoused individuals in California, but comment below if I'm wrong. So the article continues and says, a new report from LendingTree, an online marketplace for loans, can't get enough of those, looked at census data on the nation's 50 largest metro areas and found there are 5.47 million vacant housing units with the average vacancy rate of 7.22%. These vacancies include owner-occupied units and rentals, including single-family homes, apartment units, and mobile homes. 5.47 million vacant housing units exceeds the number of homes that we have for sale right now. And it's not even close. Like, it's like 5 times or something like that more homes than we have available for sale right now. So don't believe that there is no inventory. Don't believe that we have a housing shortage. We have a homes for sale shortage, and I still don't even really call it that. If you've been watching my past videos, I touch on that. But isn't that interesting to know that there are so many homes out here sitting vacant, and eventually they will come to the market at some point. But everybody's telling you, your realtor and everyone else is telling you, like, hey, if you don't buy a house, you're going to join those 500,000 people who are unhoused. And just to show you again about the smoke and mirrors in real estate, here's an article for Insider saying that housing market competition cools off, opening up more inventory and slowing down prices. I keep telling you, there are more new listings coming to the market than homes that are selling every single month. And it's been like that for a while. It's just a lot of people aren't paying attention. Maybe it may not be happening in your market, but I'm sure it's going to be happening soon. The myth about having no inventory or low inventory is simply because over the last 3 years, people haven't been selling. It started off in 2020 when people were scared of people who had the cough. Nobody wanted to let people in their homes who, they could potentially get their family sick with the cough. And then as it progressed to, hey, I don't want to sell my home with a super low interest rate and go buy another one with a super high interest rate. But I'm telling you, the next step when inventory ends up coming back to the market is going to be from a couple of things. One of those things that's going to happen in terms of inventory coming back to the market is simply that people are going to start to cash out on that equity. Inflation has driven people's savings like all the way down to zero, to the point to where they said that Americans were going to run out of money in October. You just heard the article about somebody having $10,000 saved, but they have $400,000 of equity. How long before they decide to actually tap into that equity, not through a cash out refi, but by selling the home outright, getting rid of the home and actually being able to pay off some of their debt and still boosting their savings from 10,000 to a couple $100,000. There are millions of Americans out there right now that have a couple $100,000 of equity, but at the same time, they may be struggling. They may be struggling to pay for groceries or gas or their energy bills. How long do you think before they actually tap in or actually sell that home to get the extra savings and then just move to a different type of home? Comment below, let me know what you think. The second thing is they are projecting that people are going to start losing jobs. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an economist or anything like that. I'm just a realtor. But if people do start losing jobs, which Federal Reserve and Jerome Powell has been talking about, we need some softening in the labor market. If that starts to happen, what do you think the first thing that people are going to do after they can't find another job? They're going to sell the house. So inventory is going to start coming back to the market. The question is, did you buy too soon and more inventory comes in your market and now your home is not worth as much? Because it's simply supply and demand. And I believe that when inventory does come back to the market, there really won't be a ton of buyers still waiting on the sidelines saying like, oh my God, I've been waiting for, all of this inventory to come back on the market. The housing market goes in cycles. And once inventory starts to creep up while buyer demand is low, it's going to take time for everything to meet in the middle. How do they meet in the middle? Through a reduction of prices or a reduction of rates, which obviously I think that prices will come down, which they already are, a lot faster than rates will come down. But all right, I've babbled on enough about all these different types of things going on in the real estate market. I know you came here to the video to get the number one tip that I'm using to help buyers not only save money, get under contract, and beat out other offers. Without further ado, folks, we are going to talk about an escalation clause. I know for some of you all, that seems like a foreign thing. Like an escalation clause, is that a new Cadillac? No, it's not a new Cadillac. An escalation clause is a stipulation that you put inside your contract that says that you will only pay a certain price for a property if the seller produces another offer. And on top of that, that you're willing to beat that offer up to a certain amount. So let's jump into exactly what the verbiage is on the contract, and then we'll talk a little bit more about how you should actually be using this. And it doesn't matter what market you're in, this is my number one tip, and you definitely should be using this. If you don't, probably not getting the best deal on your real estate. And because I'm one of the few people on YouTube that actually shows you contracts, like exactly what's going on, let's take a quick browse through this, and I'll read through it, and then we'll talk about what it means. So, quote, at closing, it is anticipated that should seller accept this contract, seller shall receive a net disbursement of blank. For purposes of this exhibit, the seller's net shall be calculated by subtracting any items the seller agrees to pay for on behalf of the buyer, such as closing costs or repair allowances, which are also seller concessions, from the purchase price, but not adjusting for seller-only expenses, such as mortgage payoffs, title clearance fees, which are the responsibility of the seller. So first things first, if you have or haven't bought a home, when you make an offer to purchase a home, you are given the purchase price that you're offering to pay, and then you're also requesting that the seller pay a certain amount of your closing costs. For some people, you might not request anything because you're rich, but if you're not, or if you're just like the average person, you want the seller to make the burden of purchasing a home a little bit easier for you. So what they're referring to in the first paragraph as the seller's net is the purchase price of the home minus the closing costs you're asking. So they're saying, let's just say you're buying a home for $400,000 and you're asking for $15,000 in closing costs. The seller's net would be $385,000. Now, in the event that prior to the seller's acceptance of this contract offer, your offer, the seller receives one or more additional written bona fide, I love that word, bona fide offers from a party unrelated to the seller to purchase the property with terms acceptable to the seller, and from which the seller will receive a higher seller's net at closing than the seller will receive under this contract, then the contract purchase price offered by the buyer shall automatically increase by the difference between the seller's net for this contract and the seller's net for the other offer, plus an additional blank, not to exceed a maximum purchase price of blank. So let's break this down from a practical standpoint. The previous example, or the same example that we're using now, you offered to buy a home for $400,000 and you asked the seller to pay $15,000 of your closing costs. That brings the seller to a net of $385,000. But let's say the seller receives an offer, same price, $400,000, but the other buyer only wants to but the only buyer only needs the seller to pay $10,000 in closing costs, which would boost their net over yours to $390,000. This escalation clause says that you would be willing to not only match that offer, so make their net be $390,000, just like the other higher and competing offer that they have, but also that you would be willing to exceed that offer by another price that you choose. So it could be $1,000, it could be $5,000, and up to a certain purchase price of blank, right? So in this scenario, let's say you really want the house and you say, you know what? I'm willing to pay up to $410,000, all right? They have an offer which nets them $390. Your offer is gonna net them $385. Okay. With this clause, you've automatically matched that offer at a net of $390. And you say, all right, I'm going to pay an extra $1,000 to the seller to make sure I get the house up to a purchase price of $410,000. So in that scenario, if you still needed the $15,000 of closing costs, your purchase price would automatically increase to $405 to match the net, plus an additional $1,000, $406,000, giving the seller a higher net and making your offer more attractive. Let me explain this to you why it works. Very often in real estate, you're going to hear sellers say, oh, we have other offers. Can you bid higher? Well, traditionally, if you don't use an escalation clause, then it's only a guess of how high you'll go. So you might say, I want to spend $420,000. When in this scenario, you only needed to go up another $5,000 or $5,000 plus to be able to beat that offer. That's why the escalation clause works. It makes sure that whatever you're bidding is actually competing with another offer and not competing with what the seller wants. Because the seller can say that they want anything. They can say, well, we got another offer. You got to go up 20 grand. Well, in this scenario, you can say, all right, well, I will go up another 20 grand only if you have another offer that's beating mine. And on top of that, you can't just accept my offer at an extra 20 grand. You show me what the other offer is, and my offer is going to beat them by $500 or $1,000. So that is my number one tip in terms of helping buyers really be able to secure real estate in a market that's filled with smoke and mirrors, because everybody wants to get the highest price. But me, when I'm your buyer's agent, it's my job to make sure that you get the best deal. If you have questions or comments, please drop them below. I'll be glad to answer every single one of them. And if you need a copy of this document, contact your realtor. Don't contact me unless you're in the state of Georgia so we can get this thing popping. But I really appreciate everybody watching. Make sure you like this video, subscribe, and of course, share this video as well, because more people need to know about this, because I'm just sick of people being taken advantage of when it comes to real estate. So that's what I got for you today. Appreciate your time. Love you very much. This is A Trusted Realtor. Deal closed. Peace.